Welcome to the AirCon Vault. Here you can find the recordings of the live streams from Evergle's audio conference. These are made free thanks to our sponsors: A Sound Effect, Aftertouch Audio, Boom Library, S-Mod, Game Audio Learning, Game SoundCon, Kilohertz, Rev Rooms, Soundcut, Strata from Audio Kinetic, and Evergle, the online home for audio people. We hope you enjoy the video.
Hello, everyone. Hello from Jacksonville. Oh, cool. People from around the world. Well, hello. My name is Anna. I've started as a sound engineer, and then I shifted towards sound design and game audio in general. I started to learn Unreal Engine for sound implementation and basically for what games consists of, because I think it's important for developing interactive dynamic sound. So, and I got in a trap. I thought that it would be fun to make a game. I still do 5 years later, actually. So, today, I would like to share with you several things Unreal Engine can do with audio, and I will use my game as a game environment for our experiments. I want to return my face. Well, so I think that we can just jump into the project and see what we can do. Okay, first of all, we need to import some sounds into Unreal Engine. Yes? And you can do it just from your folder. Let me choose the right location for it. Just drag and drop it, and here we have our sound. You can just drag and drop a whole folder hierarchy in case you need to stay organized within that folder hierarchy. You can import sound with this import button and choose them from here. And what about formats, which Unreal Engine uses? You can import sounds in WAV files, as WAV files, in MP3, in FLAC, pretty different formats, in different sample rates and in different number of channels. Unreal Engine supports from mono to ambisonic, though ambisonic with a plugin, I believe. And you can import both 16-bit file or 24-bit file, but Unreal Engine will convert 24-bit files internally to 16-bit files, and it will do it without any dithering. So maybe it would be better if you import just 16-bit files. Okay, and you can also change compression settings, codecs in the engine later to use on different platforms. I'm here. Okay, so now we suppose that we have our audio files in Unreal Engine. Let's jump to other location. In Unreal Engine, SoundWave Assets stands for audio files. And for example, let's take this rain asset. Let me see this one and disable it temporarily. And let's just drag and drop it to the level. Hit simulate button, and here we are. Congratulations, we have our first sound in Unreal Engine. I hope you hear it. Looking forward to getting to see what's going on. Cool. So we have our first sound on the level. We implemented our first sound, but it sounds throughout the whole map. And usually we have more than just one space with its distinct ambient in the game. Can hear it. Awesome, awesome. So usually we have several spaces, maybe forest, a town, or this rainy road. So let's navigate to the right and down to the details section of our rain. And here we have this attenuation tab, and I check override attenuation. So attenuation deals with the volume of sound from this inner area to outer area. So we will hear sound at its maximum within this little sphere, and it will decay. Volume of the sound will decay as we move to the outside radius. Let's maybe set it to the larger numbers and this, and test it. Simulate. We don't hear a thing because we are outside of this volume. We start hearing sounds, our rain, and it's in its maximum right in the middle, and as we leave the area, it smoothly fades out. Nice. I love the sound of rain. Thank you. I recorded it from my window, actually. Now let's try and add another sound. It will be town ambience, just for checking how them crossfades. Check override attenuation box and set values to something more realistic. Move this a little bit away and a little bit more. Okay, let's try it. We have rain. I have also a sound of sliding door. And what is that? Okay, we have a sound of rain. And now we hear both rain and town ambient. And as we move further, we start hearing only town ambience. So with this you can populate your level with different ambience. It's already a big job for game maps, actually. But this rain loop is nice and all, but player will eventually get tired of it because it's a loop, it's repetitive. And think we can do, we can populate level with one-shots. They may be attached to some source, or they may be without any source, and I have several here. We move to the town area, and there are two major ways. There are two major ways to make these one-shots and to make more serious audio systems than just one sound. It's sound cue and it's a MetaSound source. We will start with the sound cues as it's the older one. It was before the MetaSound. And I have several sound cues here. For one-shots, town birds and cars. So this is how sound cue looks like. You can create it with click on the right button in your folder, audio sound cue. And you can just drag and drop a sound wave to the sound cue. You have it as a wave player here. And we choose randomly from the set of sound waves in wave players. Randomly from them, we choose randomly one sound. Then we modulate it. Modulator node allows us to vary pitch and volume of the sound. Hi. Hello, everyone. Then we have a delay node that makes a pause before the output, and we can also vary its time between minimum and maximum value. We have a looping node and an output. And let's try with birds. We can test it, play Q. We have to wait because I have really long delays. So, how are you doing, guys? Oh, here we have our bird sounds. So you can drop a sound cue to the level just like we did it with a sound wave, and you can set its attenuation settings. Audio, ambient. Here are my settings for these two sounds, and I believe that I have to stop it. These are my settings for these two sounds. They cover this town area. And I'm going to show you another technique with sound cue. I have a blueprint which spawns wind and trees sound. And unfortunately, while I was recording it, I recorded a too short loop, and I couldn't make several audio tracks out of it. So I vary it, not setting another audio track, but with envelopes. So you can make an envelope. It looks like this. Here it is. Volume curve. You can make a pitch curve. I've made the only volume curve. And I have 4 of them with different curves. And instead of choosing randomly from a set of audio files, I choose randomly from these different envelopes. So it works with when you have only one long or short loop. Then I have a modulator node and an output. There you can see that we choose randomly from these envelopes. Okay, nice. And I would like to show you another one sound cue with another approach. And this is layer approach. Here it is. You maybe will use this a lot, for example, for footsteps and for, I think, many of sounds actually. This sound cue belongs to a pickup item, a coffee can. Sounds like this. So I have 4 layers here. At each level, we randomly choose from the set of sounds, and on the last layer, there's only one sound, but we modulate it a little bit. And then we mix it with a mixer right before the output. So now we can have our coffee. So it was sound cue. And what about MetaSound source? Well, MetaSound source is the second option for creating more complex sounds, and MetaSound is a digital signal processing graph. So it allows us to build procedural sounds, and we have a very huge amount of parameters. to use them in blueprints, for player actions, etc. Let's have a look. Let's return to the rain sound here. I have a nice loop of rain, but I think that thundershots will actually fit it perfectly. So let's see another one. Sound source, this time MetaSound source. What do we see here? First of all, this sound has two layers. It's a looping layer of the rain sound and another layer that triggers these shots of thunder. Thank you. Oh, I see we have a question. How do you keep all the sounds organized within Unreal Engine once there's a lot of areas and sound cues? Well, first of all, it's nice to have a naming convention from the start, and maybe you will need some time to work on your own naming convention. As you can see, I named these sounds from their major area to their smaller area of using. So I have this weird name ASABAL forest ambience, which stands for audio sound. There can be audio sound, audio dialogue, or audio music, audio voice, not dialogue. AB is ambience, AL is area loop. So when you're searching for your sounds, you can just start typing, for example, ambient sound. And here you have your sounds. But now I find this convention not actually convenient for me. So I start using another one. And also we have filters in the content browser. You can filter searching results with maybe we are looking for actor foliage, static mesh foliage, and audio. We have a lot of different audio assets in Unreal Engine: audio buses, reverb effects, sound cues, sound concurrencies. We can filter everything we need. Okay. Oh. There's a great naming system called UCS. When you use it, you can work with other sound sources that use it as well. Yeah, so I think it depends really on the project and on the people who work on them. Maybe you work with another department, or maybe you work on your own. So you will choose naming convention for your needs, actually. Okay. Oh, and sound classes helps to deal with a lot of sounds, and I will show them a little bit later. They are something like groups in digital audio workstations, and once you start mixing everything, you will use them a lot. So it's another thing that helps to navigate through really, really a lot of sounds. So let's get back to this rain sound. So the first layer is pretty straightforward. It's just a wave player. And here's something more, a little bit more complex. It's a trigger repeat node, and I've created several values for this system, several variables. On the left, under the member tab, we have all of these variables. First one is actually trigger that triggers this sequence of events. So trigger repeat node will activate trigger thunder shots. Here it is, and it will start this small chain here. Then I have a variable of type time. I use it to set periods in which trigger repeat will repeat our triggers. And an array of wave assets, it's variable type of wave assets array. And in default values, I have all of my audio files of shots of thunder. So when trigger is activated, we randomly choose the next value for trigger time between these two values. Then we randomly get one audio track from thunder shots array. We play it with a wave player, which is in stereo. And here we have stereo mixer, which combines these two layers and gives us two outputs for the left and for the right. So your MetaSounds can be in any output format. I have stereo one here, but you can have it in mono, stereo quad, 5.1, 7.1, and you will have more outputs than just left and right, or less if this is mono sound. And you can actually route different layers for maybe different speakers or something like that. So you have pretty much of control of your sounds. Do you have questions? You're welcome for answering. Still getting used to UCS, but it's very helpful. Reminds me a lot of signal flow. It really is something like signal flow. Our signal just flows from left to right, and you just add notes which do something with your sound. Yeah, MetaSound was made actually for musicians and sound designers to look more convenient and something more knowable, maybe. So Epix thought about us. Hooray! Okay. The first thunder shots fires up from the start. And there's another one. Oh, and the great thing in MetaSounds is that you have several meters here. It's a new thing in Unreal Engine. You didn't have such luxury instruments with sound cues, unfortunately. So here I have my ambient train, set it up. And you can see that I've used another shape for attenuation. It's a box, and there's also capsule or a cone. You can use different shapes. Oh, I forgot to tell you about attenuation function. It deals with how actually the sound volume decays, and we have linear, logarithmic, universe, log reverse, etc. There's something more that I would like to show you with this particular sound. Under the attenuation settings, we have this attenuation air absorption. So what does air absorption? It's try to emulate how volume of sound, how I think more how sound behaves with the distance. As we know that lower frequencies carries the energy on much longer distance and higher frequencies decay much faster. So we can deal with it. Let me choose it once again and show you. Here we can set minimum and maximum distance range. It's when we fire this air absorption mechanic, and we have low pass cutoff frequency and high pass cutoff, and I set it here for something like 8,000 on the maximum distance. So let's maybe no. Let's listen it. So as we move toward the window, we start hearing it louder and with more high frequencies. It helps to shape a little bit more naturally accurate sound on the level with all of this air absorption and volume attenuation. Okay, this was our loop for the rain sound. Let's move further. Thank you. Thank you. Let's move further and try to use some parameters of MetaSound from the blueprint. And I have here something. So when player tries to enter this coffee shop, there's something like an obstacle. This building is not powered up, so doors won't move. And I here have a power box. It's not it's actually not finished yet, so I made a simple system just for today. So we have power box, and inside there's a large slider. And for now, this power box is malfunctioning, and I actually have two sounds recorded. I actually have two sounds pre-recorded for this power box. A broken sound. I made it with maybe Korg, Volca keys, yeah, and detune it. And a working sound, perfectly tuned. So we could actually make a sound cue and work with parameters of sound cue from the blueprint. But there's a thing. These two sounds are pretty short loops. And what our brain does with pretty short loops? Our brain stop noticing repetitive sounds when they're playing for a while. And I would like this power box to sound like a real problem and constantly remind of its existence. So I also think that it would be just fun to make something that we can actually tune in real time. So let's have a look at this MetaSound source for this power box. Previously, we used a wave player to deal with sound in MetaSound, but now we will use only oscillators to generate our sound. I have super oscillator with a 220 frequency. I then modulate it with a ring modulator. And for this ring modulator, I use simple square oscillator, but I randomly switch frequencies of this oscillator. And I have the last one, sine oscillator. You can see that I have a lot of knobs here. No questions? Oh, okay. I have a lot of knobs here. And they are something that we will use actually in Blueprint to control various parameters. So you can create them under the member tab from the inputs. They are pretty similar to variables. They can be of any type, and I use float type. I have one for detune, called detune. I have one for pulse width and frequencies array. So it sounds like this. And then in the blueprint, here it is, I have an audio component in the components of the blueprint. And I use this component to reach MetaSound parameters. In the UI, I've made a real slider for this. So you can easily get these parameters dragging from the from your audio component and typing set parameters, set maybe float parameter. So you just choose it and then you type the name of your parameter. It works pretty straightforward. And then I feed this value of this slider right into the detune parameter because I've set values for this switcher between minus 0.75 to 0. But then I have another parameter, which is pulse width, and I convert these values from the slider, which are between minus 0.75 to 0, to the other range, which fits pulse width parameter. So this fits in range A and in range B, and outrange A and outrange B. And I use it also for static mesh. Let's hear. It makes sound. It sounds like a problem, I hope. Here's our very large slider. And as we move it, our slider, we get perfectly tuned working sound of the power box. We can get back to the old version. Once again. So I thought it would be really fun to, once again, to tune it in real time because, well, we have oscillators in MetaSounds. Why won't use it? Thank you. Thank you. Another question. Oh, so much questions. Okay. Let's read them. Hi, Anna. Thank you for the excellent and useful presentation. I often had headaches trying to figure out how to make an infinite loop from more than one wave player in MetaSound. For example, have a radio consisting of two wave players, wanted to first play an array of new reports and second an array of music, so on indefinitely until the player turns it off. Struggled with this for a long time and ended up doing everything through external blueprint system. Do you have any life hacks on how to do this within MetaSound without going into the blueprint system? Two wave players. First play an array of new reports and then second array of music. Okay. Let's see. I think maybe you can do something with this trigger repeat, first of all. And you can set the number of repeats here. So maybe you would like to have 3-4 repeats of a radio program itself. Mhm. And when we run out of these repeats, we trigger another trigger repeat node and make the same with music array. And maybe we can have one large trigger repeat for the whole system. I would move in this maybe direction to test trigger repeat node and play around with it. Yeah, something like this. It's interesting because I will have a radio in my game, and I already recorded a voice and a music, and I want to make pretty similar system. So maybe you can write to me, and when I will assemble it, I will show you what I got. Pretty interesting question. Okay, another one. Can you do directional settings? So when a sound source is on the right side of the player, the sound plays from stereo settings only on the right side. On headset, for example, when the player changes its view, it comes from the left when the object is on the left side of them. Yes, and it's made not in sound cues or MetaSound. It is made within Spatialization and Attenuation node. Let me find any audio source. I can't show it right here because I believe this audio of this translation goes in mono, so we won't see the difference. But you will test it on your own. So I selected, let's select cars, for example. And down here, under the attenuation settings, we have allow spatialization setting. So it allows us to use location of the sound source. So when player turn to the left, to the right, the audio will come from the left headset. So we can deal with this setting pretty easily just from this attenuation tab. Okay. So it's possible to make your own synthesizers in UA, right? Right. I think it's the first thing that Epix showcased with this MetaSound, that you can make synthesizers. They made synthesizers in Fortnite to showcase these features, and this is what all of these sound knobs are for. It means it's possible to use UA instead of DAW. I get used to DAW, but how you balance usage of DAW with MetaSound? You can work with oscillators from MetaSound, yes, but maybe for natural sounds like birds or I don't know, wind. No, we can make wind with MetaSound using noise nodes, but with nature sounds, I think you will stick to digital audio workstation and recording them, but you still can process them with MetaSound to maybe to make otherworld animal if you need it. I would like actually to build a system that allows me to synthesize sounds like, this really low woo sounds to mark some events in the game. I can do it in the game also because I already wanted to use something like Stranger Things audio set, audio vibe. So yeah. The problem is that when you're trying to make a loop, the MetaSound system tells me that you are creating a loop. I will not connect these nodes. Well, I've overcome this obstacle with this value trigger time. It's delayed. So in this case, when this value of period is delayed, it works with such loops perfectly well. Let's try to use other type. Connection causes loop because we try to use a regular variable, not a delayed one. Have a couple of questions. Do these tools only work for sound effects or can they work for music too? For example, to provide variation in music tracks? Yes, of course. You can use it to variate music tracks, and Sound MetaSource deals with them a little bit better because of the because they okay, I will say it in simple words, because they made it to deal with the time of your track a little bit more precise. Also, do these tools overlap with what middleware can do, or are they separate tools with separate purposes? I'm afraid I don't know what to answer to this question because I never used Fmod or Wwise. I would like to learn them, but I have no time. My shame. So I use everything from inside the Unreal because it allows me to be very flexible with my sound design, and as I build my mechanics systems within the game, I can think about what interesting things in sound I can make alongside building these mechanics. I like that I can reach any parameters of the sound cue or MetaSound source from the blueprint to make this sound really interactive. So when player interacts with it, it answers. I think it's very, very cool, and it's make the world of the game truly livable, living, breathing. Thanks. You're welcome. Quartz for music. Save the voice. Save that voice count. Quartz for music. Quartz is a large music large system within Unreal Engine, and all of these quartz, MetaSound, sound cue, they coexist, so you can use pretty everything that you want. Maybe you would like to use sound cue for simpler systems and MetaSound for this huge tangled sounds. Okay. Another question. Oh, yeah, I already answered this about. Mhm. Okay, so let's get back. How much time we actually have now? I would like to show sound in animation, sound cues, and not sound cues, sound classes, and audio volumes. I will start showing footstep sounds for now. So working with animations are pretty easy too. You just find animation you need. I use this for walking. And right on this timeline, we can click with the right mouse button, add notify, and we can actually just add play sound notify and put our sound cue or meta sound right here, and it will be okay. For something more complicated like footsteps, we need another approach just because we need to know which surface we are standing on. So for footsteps, you can add a new notify and give it some meaningful name like footsteps notify. Let's see what's going on in animation blueprint. And here, when this notify event fires, with the line trace, we check what is under players main characters' feet. 35 minutes left. Okay, thank you, Lewis. So on hit event, we check surface types, and things get a little bit complicated here, but just a little bit. So in project settings, under the engine tab, on physics, we can add up to 62 custom surface types. I already have concrete, grass, linoleum, and carpet here, so you just type in some meaningful name like maybe dirt or sand, and then right mouse button in the content browser, physics, physical material, and in the details we can choose from drop-down menu under the physical properties surface type our surface. And then this physical material can be assigned to materials, to static meshes, and so on. And now, in animation blueprint, when we use this get surface type, we can use switch on physical surface, and we have several output events, several output pins for different surfaces. And then we can use just play sound at location and use different sound cues or meta sounds for different types of surface. I have an old one, and here you can see why I also love meta sound sources. I use 4 layers for concrete steps, yes, for concrete footsteps, and it looks pretty scary. I have a newer set of footsteps. I recorded them recently, and I used MetaSounds source to assemble all of this. So here I just have random get node and several inputs for my sound wave arrays. Wait, what? To see people that don't really work with middleware because made an obviously wrong assumption that everyone uses at least one of them. I think I certainly will need to learn maybe WWise, I think. Just as Unreal Engine covers all my needs, for now, I use everything I can in Unreal Engine. And you don't have to pay for your middleware when you use everything in Unreal Engine. Worked on game with the audio technical lead, was just working directly with Unity. Oh yeah, Unity also has its internal audio system, and I saw that it works actually fine. It was very much exception. C++ to drive playback how you want. In the case you know C++, yes, it may be more convenient. For mid-sized games, in terms of budget, middleware can get pricey. Yes, the thing that I really like in Unreal Engine is that it allows a really small team or maybe a solo game developer to make a game of pretty good quality just with this one tool. Because, for example, I work on this game on my own, and since Unreal Engine have added modeling tools, I model things I need for myself, right, in the Unreal Engine. These houses, for example, and much more. So yeah, I use Unreal Engine's audio system, and for my game, I wanna it be something like 5 to 7 hours, maybe. It's pretty enough. With the audio technician. Oh, we have more questions. Have you ever used Unreal for any types of film or TV projects? I've used Unreal Engine for kind of a film project. It was not on the film stage. It was for working on a video. We had actors on the green screen already recorded, so I used the compositing mode when I can see both what's going on the screen and in Unreal Engine and these actors on the green screen. It was pretty funny. It's so strange to see real people inside your scene. Okay, so we have a lot of games. We have a lot of sounds in this game already, and as I said, there's a thing to mix them throughout the game. It's sound classes. I will show you my my sound class hierarchy. So I have a major sound class, then several also large sound classes derives from it. It's dialect, music, SFX. And from the sound effects, we have character sounds, interactions, ambience, and so on. So, for example, we can change sound of all assigned to ambient class sounds right here, or we can change only area loops. And you just create a sound class, new sound class, and you can assign it within sound queue here. In MetaSound source, MetaSound, no, in source here, or within settings of your sounds directly. For example, here. And then we can do such a thing that we can hit the play button.
Да, сюда надо, да? Да, ты вот там иди.
Press Shift F1. Go to our sound class hierarchy. And for example, we can set the volume of ambience to 0, just to test this system. Now we have only footsteps. So you can kind of mix your game in a real time, and also we have things called sound class mixes, like here. So it's basically a set of settings. It's like you have different variants of the mix, and you can run them in your game. For example, here I have a mix that solos some class, ambience. Here we have fade in time, so it won't take effect just abruptly. No, it will be smooth. So we can make many of them. We can use them passively or from blueprints. So yeah, it's how we can mix our sound. Of course, there's much more in Unreal Engine, different submixes, different effect chains, but for now I think we're running out of time. Tinkering on blueprints, though. The last thing I would like to show you is called ambient volume. There's volume that change settings of the exterior and interior sounds. So, for example, here, let's. When we enter this building, town ambient loses its volume, and when we go outside, we have our ambient on the same level. Once more. And also we can change frequencies. We can use cutoff filters for exterior and interior volumes, and we have time settings within this time. These effects we can hear. There's once more with the construction site.
Ой, это что? Ой, это строечка. Ой.
Down here we don't hear town ambience much because it's kind of blocked with these walls. Oh, ladders. So with all of this, with the sound cues, MetaSounds, using parameters from blueprints and audio volumes, you already can populate your game with sounds and make them dynamic, make them pretty interactive, I can say. Okay, I think we're out of time, so last questions. Are the sliders for mixing the sounds using decibels? It's a good question because it's not in decibels, it's use a kind of multiplier. So you have your sound here on the level that you rendered it from your digital audio workstation, and this volume is actually a multiplier. So when you decrease it, for example, to 0, you have to then multiply it to 1. It's pretty straightforward. And it moves between these 0 and 1 values. It's not decibels, it's just a multiplier. It can be more than 1, it can be like up to this weird number. So it can multiply the volume of our sound to some coefficient. It was this question. Okay. So I believe we've run out of time. Yeah. I have a temptation to play to hit play button, but I won't. Okay. This was really helpful. Oh, I'm glad that it was helpful. I tried to squeeze as much as I can in this talk and show everything, so you can use it on your own. So you're welcome. Thank you for staying with me, and goodbye.